Hey, how's it going guys? It's your boy, and today I'm going to make a video as quick as I can about the Thot audit that's been going on. So there's a few things that's been going up in the air about this. The fact that it's linked to the culture war, it's linked to issues to do with the genders, and it's things to do with financial problems, and also things to do with business, so like Twitch for example. There's a load of things to unpack in this topic, surprisingly considering really what it's about. So let's just get into the history. What started this off? So basically there was this man who was essentially a pickup artist called David Wu, who for a while actually apparently was trying to get this, not necessarily a movement, but certainly more of a subject off the ground, this troll off the ground, because he really was trying to, in a sense, troll these people, also trying to get some kind of justice against these Thots. And that was, he believed, and there was some evidence that pointed towards this, that a lot of these Thots, these women, some of them called sex workers, which again I will need to get into because there's a difference between a Thot and a sex worker, weren't paying their taxes and essentially were getting away with this illegal act because, well, I guess they were women, and because they were Thots, those people were paying them and they weren't doing backbreaking work or legitimate work, and therefore they themselves didn't think they needed to pay tax. Now, that is the origin of this story, and for once it just happened to explode. Why? Well, maybe there's been a lot of momentum over the last couple of years against people who are considered Thots. So let's just break it down. There are a few areas on the internet where they're very prevalent and cause a lot of issues. Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, with Instagram, it's a lot easier to ignore them. You don't have to follow them. They're going to make money off of it. They're usually models, but they're just taking pictures. And, you know, you can take it or leave it. But with Twitter and with Twitter, it's a very similar thing, although these people do tend to be social justice warriors, they do tend to be on the left, and they can cause some issues as well, and they do tend to infiltrate groups and cause a lot of trouble, and especially in cosplay, they do cause some issues as well. But the big issue is places like Twitch. And you've all seen the famous rant of that man who, like a Twitch streamer, got banned for complaining about these Thots and these bullies. It wasn't necessarily just women, but he was talking mainly about Thots who come onto Twitch. They basically do what is essentially breaking the terms of service and basically make money off of it, because Twitch turns a blind eye, because one, these men who run Twitch love it, and they will pick and choose who they like and will punish those who break the same rules, but won't punish those who make them enough money. So we have literal Thots using Hitachi wands to get orgasms whenever somebody donates money to them. This is shit that people on Chatterbait do. Yeah, apparently it's okay when these Thots do it, but not when anybody else does it on Twitch. And that's another major issue. It's the double standards that Thots have compared to everybody else. And that is essentially what Wu is trying to, I guess, highlight. Now, it has since exploded, and people have taken to it as an anti-Thot action, and a lot of that is to be commendable. I think it is, to some extent, a citizen's duty to report people who don't pay their taxes. However, there's a caveat to this. You can report people for not paying their taxes, however, you must have leads, you must have evidence. You can't just accuse somebody of not paying their taxes and report them to the IRS or Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs or whoever your tax organisation happens to be, and just laugh as these people, if they do, get investigated or even punished for this. Because that's a scummy move, and you really should do better than that, because essentially, since you have to also, I guess with the IRS, I've heard, you also have to provide their social security number, which means you may have to dox these people in order to do so. But again, I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I guess the IRS already has that, and I know HMRC do have access to people's national insurance numbers in the UK, because how else would they pay my pensions and things like that? How would they know what to take from my wages so I can contribute to that and to national insurance, things like that? They probably already have contacts who can get them that anyway. But again, it's all about your attitude. Are you going in here to do your civic duty, or are you simply trying to attack people who you consider Thots and you don't like, or who you perceive to be Thots? Because remember, some of these people can be legitimate sex workers. So let's get into the sex worker angle. Now, a lot of people seem to be targeting sex workers, and it's kind of a broad term, but Thots do not come under this, because Thots just show a bit of cleavage, maybe a little bit of ass, but they don't actually do sexual acts. And as I mentioned before, there was a mention of people using Hitachi wands. Again, you don't really see it, but again, it's more to entice people to pay. Sex workers, on the other hand, you do see the actual sexual act. There is actually a strange kind of ethics code when it comes to customer and businessman or woman, and the performers do pay their taxes for the most part. They have to, because they are essentially self-employed, and these people provide an actual legitimate service on places like Chatterbait or Xhamster. These are not the people who you should be attacking or targeting, because they're no different to you and I. So don't let them get caught in the crossfire. That's just collateral damage. And it's sad to see that some people like them are also getting targeted by this, I hope will not become a witch hunt, but this wave of reporting. I don't think it's even just normal female streamers who aren't sexual in any way. They just either play video games or just use their personality and talk about things. But anything, they could do anything they want. They could just be in real life streamers. These people are also getting targeted, like Brittany Fenty. Rouge V, he jumped onto this bandwagon for his own personal reasons, and I don't think he particularly cares about the sexual marketplace, so we'll get into that. I think he's really interested in dealing with the people he doesn't like, and he basically accused her of, what was it, holding tens of thousands of dollars in tax that she hasn't paid, even though there is no evidence. He didn't provide any of this evidence, and if he does have evidence, there's only one place he should take it, and that's not Twitter. That's the fucking IRS or the government or the police, whoever. People who are getting caught in the crossfire, who have done nothing wrong, deserve nothing. It's the Thots who have actually allegedly admitted to not paying tax, who are defending themselves not paying tax, that are the issues here. And it's kind of funny to see these people who are essentially cultural Marxists or just socialists or quite left-wing suddenly become extreme libertarians and even anarcho-capitalists, saying that, oh, we don't have to pay taxes, it's theft, how dare you, I don't have to pay and declare my income. And you've seen a lot of people, some of it might be memes and copy pastas at this point, but there were people genuinely confused and exacerbated at the fact that they do have to declare this income. Just, it boggles my mind. If they are concerned and angry that Amazon and any other massive corporation that doesn't pay their taxes, then how come all of a sudden it's okay for them to not pay their taxes because they're not a big corporation? You're still a business owner to some extent. Pay your fucking taxes. And here comes a link with the culture war and the, I guess you could call it the battle of the sexes, the sexual market. In terms of the culture war, a lot of these thoughts do tend to be on the more SJW side of things, the more far left kind of thing. And I guess the fact that it was started by the pickup artists, and maybe you can argue more right-wing people, even though I don't really see it as really more of a political thing, more of a social thing. It's more of a social backlash than the political backlash. There is that element to it, but I think it's minor. It's really more of a small battle within the grand scheme of things, and I don't think people should get worked up on that element. And likewise with the sexual marketplace thing, that is, I guess, a legit thing to some extent. It is a phenomenon where men in their late teens, early 20s don't fare as well as women of the same age who can pretty much have sex with whoever they want, but as the two demographics get older, it flips. So men in their late 20s, early 30s, hell, you can even argue their 40s, they become more attractive through loads of different factors, be that money, maybe they age well, they work out, things like that. There's a variety of factors that make men more, I guess, attracted to women as they get older, whereas with women, it's a lot harder because their looks tend to fade, they hit the biological clock, the brick wall, in their late 30s to early 40s, and it's a lot harder for them to keep that going. But again, I feel that's totally peripheral. I just think this is one pickup artist who was hopefully trying to get some people exposed for not paying their taxes and also to get a bit of fun. And we've had a lot of memes and good laughs from these people trying to justify not paying their taxes. I don't really buy the whole sexual marketplace thing. But to some extent, the people latching onto this, some of the young men, even though it's young women too, it's not just men, it is women. I mean, I even told my mum about this, guys, believe it or not. Even she agreed that they should be paying their taxes. And she said the same thing that I said about Amazon. There is an element of that. It's more of a subtext. It's more of a general feeling that these men feel, quite rightly, that they've been treated unfairly in society, that these women are getting the better end of the stick, and they just want to, I guess, get their own back. But again, the sexual gender element, I know it's a part of it, it's a factor, but I don't consider it a massive one. I just think that thoughts in general are a big issue to both men and women, and we're seeing a backlash that was a long time coming. Whether or not this will lead on to other things or it's just a flash in the pan, I don't know. Because again, David Wu was forever trying to get this going on the road. But also, a few things I'd like to mention just before I leave. If any of you watched the Dumping with Scrump thing, there's some things you ought to know. Roosh Fee is not an MRA, because Scrump mentioned, and I think they've been told this, but it's worth repeating, he is not an MRA, he is not in any way the stereotype of what the feminists consider the MRAs to be. He is, in fact, anti-MRA. He does not like them or feminists, for a variety of different reasons. I don't think the alt-right really have much of a sway or even much of an influence in this. I think when people might be talking about degenerate behaviour and, maybe decline of societal values, it doesn't necessarily have to be from an alt-right perspective. It could just be they're using this language because, one, it's strong language and something they feel passionate about, and to some extent they do have some kind of point, even though I don't really care about sex work. I think prostitution should be legal. I think if you want to sell your body, you can. Why not? We sell labour, which in essence, if it's all you've got, it is your body. Whatever, do it. I mean, it doesn't mean it should be looked upon as a favourable career option and something that should be considered a good thing, but it shouldn't really be considered a bad thing either. It should just be whatever you want, you do you, just so you know I do not condone it, but I don't condemn it either. In summary, this was a backlash on the internet against I guess you can argue, a privileged section of internet society where they seem to have one rule for them and rule for everybody else. They cause nothing but trouble in every community that they seem to parasitically attach themselves to. I think some of them basically exploit young boys and young men, either through their own immaturity, I'm talking about these men, or maybe their disabilities or their insecurities, and these women should know better. They are not the same as sex workers, cam girls or porn stars or escorts or anything like that. And we should differentiate and make sure that the people who are being reported, one, you have evidence that they don't pay their taxes, and two, that you are not attacking legitimate sex workers who have businesses. These people have livelihoods. Please remember that. And also we must remember our terms. Pick-up artists are not MRAs. MRAs are not pick-up artists. Sex workers are not thots. Thots aren't necessarily sex workers. So, there we go guys. Here's my quick video. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, I'll see you later.